From coup to catastrophe, this is how Nigeria descended into civil war. The five majors had orchestrated a bloody coup that left the nation's top leaders unalived. Out of the chaos emerged Major General Agunyi Ironsi, rising as Nigeria's first military head of state in what many suspected was not just a coup, but a tribal hit job masquerading as a patriotic purge. Now, once in power, Ironsi moved fast. The 1963 constitution was suspended and military rule was declared. 4 military governors took over the regions: Hassan Katsina in the north, Adekunle Fajuyi in the west, David Ejo in the midwest, and Chukwuemeka Ojukwu in the east. A military tribunal was set up to try the coup plotters. But as the trial did not take place, whispers that Ironsi himself was in on the coup began to spread like a virus. In a bid to crush the rumors and distance himself from the narrative, Ironsi reshuffled power. He appointed General Yakubu Gowon as his army chief of staff. He then replaced Philip Effiong, a southeasterner, with T.Y. Danjuma, a northerner in a key position in the Supreme Headquarters in Lagos. He assigned relatives of the slain Ahmadu Bello to influential positions. He also appointed Lieutenant William Walbe as commander for his security detail. Now, by surrounding himself with northern officers, Ironsi unwittingly placed the architect of his demise within arm's reach. The general made a gamble, and it was a costly one. Then came Decree 34 on May 24, 1966, dissolving Nigeria's federal system in favor of a unitary state. To the Easterners, it was a dream fulfilled, but to the Northerners, it was a declaration of war. Riots erupted. Thousands of Igbo civilians in the north were slaughtered or driven from their homes. On July 29, 1966, northern soldiers struck back in a brutal counter-coup. Ironsi and his host, Colonel Fajuyi, sadly met their end. Officers of Igbo origin were hunted down and unalived, and even the civilians became targets as well. From the chaos, Yakubu Gowon emerged as Nigeria's new leader. As a Christian from a minority tribe, he was seen as a compromise figure. He repealed the unification decree, but peace talks faltered, and ethnic massacres in the north continued. It claimed the lives of an estimated 30,000 Igbo civilians. This triggered a mass exodus of Easterners back to their homeland. September 29, 1966, remembered as Black Thursday. That day marked the single bloodiest day of the carnage. With tensions and violence at a fever pitch, national leaders sought a path forward. But Chukwuemeka Ojukwu, the military governor of the Eastern region, who had rejected Gowon's leadership, refused to attend any meetings on Nigerian soil. He cited security concerns as his reasons. In a bid to salvage peace, the Ghanaian government stepped in, hosting both sides in Aburi, Ghana on January 4th and 5th, 1967. The federal government delegates, led by Gowon, and the Eastern delegation, led by Ojukwu, went into discussions in what would become a pivotal meeting in Nigeria's history, popularly called the Aburi Accord. They left Aburi with what seemed like an agreement. Ojukwu believed they had a deal. But when they got back to Lagos, Gowon's government raised legal and administrative concerns about the Aburi terms and rolled out Decree Number 8, a diluted and watered-down version of the Aburi Accord, especially with regards to regional autonomy. Ojukwu saw this as a betrayal and a breach of trust, and he accused the federal government of acting in bad faith. Ojukwu and the Eastern authorities took over the ports, the radio stations, seized state assets, and there were hostile broadcasts and propaganda all over the place. May 27th, 1967. In response to all the escalating tension, Gowon issues yet another decree, splitting Nigeria further into 12 states. The eastern region was divided into 3 parts. This move would undermine the eastern region's unity, and the East Central State would lose control over most of the petroleum located in the other 2 areas. Ojukwu views this as a final act of aggression, a sign that dialogue was over. 3 days later, on the 30th of May 1967, Ojukwu declared the entire eastern region as the Republic of Biafra. The federal military government's reaction was swift, and it immediately placed an embargo on all shipping to and from Biafra, putting the young Biafra nation at a disadvantage from the beginning of the war. Foreign powers picked sides. Biafra gained recognition from Tanzania, Gabon, Ivory Coast, Zambia, and Haiti, with some covert military and financial support from France, China, Israel, Portugal, South Africa, and Rhodesia, while the Nigerian side was backed by Britain and the Soviet Union. The US offered diplomatic support while maintaining a neutral stance. On July 6th, the Nigerian government, led by Colonel Mohammed Shua, launched a police action to retake Biafra through the northern areas. After unexpected fierce resistance and high casualties, the Nigerian military took over Gakem, Nsukka, Obudu, and Ugoja. After this, the Biafran army launched a westward offensive and occupied Bini, Sapele, and Ughelli. The plan was to eventually capture Lagos. The Nigerian military had to redirect the resources to counter the Midwest invasion, which led to the Asaba massacre, resulting in significant civilian casualties, mainly boys and men. Now, desperate for skilled officers, Ojukwu had ordered the release of the January 1966 coup plotters, including Ifajuna, Nzogo, and Banjo, as he believed their military trainings was much needed in defense of Biafra. In July of 1967, Nzogo, who had been promoted to the rank of lieutenant colonel, was trapped in an ambush near Nsukka and he was unalived. Ifajuna, Banjo, and some other officers were accused of plotting a coup against Ojukwu, and after a hurried trial, the officers were executed on grounds of treason. After Nigeria captured the north areas of Biafra, they regrouped for Operation Tiger Claw, and Calabar fell. Oka followed in January of 1968, bringing the Nigerian soldiers closer to Onitsha. By March 1968, Onitsha had fallen. Nigerian government began to close the noose around the Biafrans. Then Port Harcourt fell in May 1968. This cut off very crucial access to food and resources for Biafra. Starvation became a weapon. Biafra cries of genocide reached the world all over, and some foreign groups stepped in to intervene. By January 1970, Biafra was exhausted. Operation Tailwind, under the command of Olusegun Obasanjo, led to the capture of Major Joseph Achuzia, who was a key officer. Now, this broke the morale of the Biafra soldiers. A few days later, Owerri and Uli were captured, crushing the last Biafra resistance. Ojukwu fled to Ivory Coast, leaving his deputy Philip Effiong to handle the details of the surrender. On January 14, 1970, Philip Effiong surrendered in Lagos, and the Nigerian forces advanced into the remaining Biafra territories. The guns fell silent, and the Republic of Biafra was no more. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow to stay in the know, because your support is what helps me to keep bringing these stories to life. Thank you.